We gon' put your business on display. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, we gon' put your business on display. I got winners on the way. You know you can't knock the hustle. And if you gotta get in place, then we gon' put your business on display. Grab a seat, we need you for a minute. And if you got the goods, we can talk about your business. She know what it's like to make a move independently. And I don't fake us like that. We've been trusting God like that. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, we gon' put your business on display.
Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. I'm all smiles here today. Super excited to be here this Wednesday. I just did a brief live to just let you guys know that ladies, ladies, and probably the gents need to listen a little bit too about today's topic, okay? I'm super excited to have my special guest here today. So grab your neighbor, grab your friend, grab your sister, girlfriend, especially those who know about menopause. Perimenopause. I said perimenopause, pure menopause, all the menopause, all the men pause with the menopause, okay? Because we probably drive them absolutely crazy. Anyway, those of us who have husbands or significant others or whatever, and our family members and friends too, right? So anyway, I just wanted to share that I'm super excited about my guest today, and I'm just going to bring her on because I'll tell you all how I met her. But that's none other than the wellness coach, and she's amazing, Miss Sally Bartlett. Hey, Sally.
Hey there. Hi, Alicia. So good to see you again.
So good to see you also. Well, me and Sally, we met on one of the social media apps, which was Clubhouse. I was in a room where she was speaking, and everything she said resonated with me. And it really caused me to say, hey, I need to take some time for myself. And she actually spent some time with me. And I'm just super excited to talk all things wellness. Not just menopause, you guys. It's not just menopause, okay? So it's not just for everybody with menopause, okay? So don't be afraid. Be like, this is not for me, but actually, it's for everyone who needs to learn about doing some self-care and some wellness for yourself. And Sally is no other better person than to do it. She is a coach, an author, a speaker, and she is just a person who I admire. And I'm going to take some notes from once I slow down. So that's the key, to slow down. So you all just take a minute and slow down. So Sally, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you live and everything. Well, tell everybody else. I know.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm really happy to be here, Nisha, and so happy to know you. I am from Southern California, and I have pretty much lived here all my life. I have a son. The foremost in my head right now is I have a son that's about to go back on campus in college. And so there have been some streaming tears. I'm just letting those flow for my mental health and my sanity. So who knows when those will pop up today, but anywho, that's front of mind right now. And also I have a dog, Wilson. And what else was I going to tell you? I love paisley and polka dots, and I love riding my bicycle over fall leaves that crunch. And those are some.
Oh my goodness, I kind of like that too. I like hearing the crunch in the leaves as well. Fall is one of my favorite seasons, especially with the clothing changes and the weather and different things like that. So we are talking to Sally Barfield, you guys, and her website is sallybarfield.com. And I want you all to join in and pay attention, ask questions today, you guys, because this is a great time to ask all your questions. Ruby said menopause. I heard that from someone else. That was not unique for me, but it reminded me of that. So I'm super excited to talk about. So I'm 51 years old, just to be transparent. And so what intrigued me about talking to you, Sally, was the fact that some of the things you spoke to about mental health and self-care and taking time for yourself really resonated with me, especially that particular day. But I want to ask you, why did you choose to go into the business of being a wellness coach and really kind of dive into some of the struggles that women have?
Sure, sure. Well, I've been a wellness coach since long before I myself went through menopause. I am 61, since we're being so transparent. Began signs of perimenopause when I was in my 40s. I'm kind of jumping around, but it will make sense, I hope.
Okay, cool.
My mother was chronically ill from the time I was like 12, and that caused her to miss out a lot on my life. So I vowed I was always going to be able to be as healthy as possible in my life and be able to be more present in my child's life, because I knew I wanted to have at least one child, and I was blessed with one child. And so that became a passion of mine early on, was to be healthy, whatever that looked like, physically, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, all those things. And then the other, couple that with the fact that my family of origin had some faulty problem solving, let's just say. And I coped with that, because that's a big umbrella, but I coped with that through excess food, binge eating, excess exercising. I call it exercise bulimia, where you don't throw up, but you use exercise as a way you think you're controlling your weight. So anywho, I had a lot of issues with that up to my 20s. And then I found some ways through therapy and other journaling techniques. I found ways to become more emotionally literate and to know how to feel my feelings and talk about my feelings and have better boundaries. And all that led to me needing less hand to mouth with the food. And so that's kind of, and then I continued working with women, and I found when I worked with women that many, many women dislike their bodies and say mean things to themselves and are on a perpetual diet that just causes this negative shame spiral that just never quits. And then when menopause came, I found that a lot of women, the things that the diet cycle just didn't even work anymore, even as if it never did, right? But so that's where I just kind of found my sweet spot of like, I really want women to realize, like, how to be your best self and how to be kinder to yourself and how to give yourself permission to take that time, whatever it is you need to do to take care of yourself, just to kind of slow down, stop pushing. And not to say I'm perfect either on that. I definitely still sometimes have those voices in my head that say, like, not good enough, hurry up, go faster, should have said this, and so that's where I use those journaling techniques that I teach to other women as well, to help counter that and harness that into, amazing things that I'm on the earth to do, like we all are, I feel, and I don't let those negative voices hold me back anymore.
Yeah, that's so good. Now, first of all, I know that you're a woman of faith, so that's a blessing in itself. Let me just speak to that, because a lot of people have different ways of going about things, but I do appreciate that and value that about you. But I want to talk about some of the things that, because so many of my friends started so early with just the journey of menopause or the journey of symptoms. Okay, so let's just mention some of the symptoms that could probably just to make women aware, because sometimes people just don't know, they think they're just on an emotional roller coaster. So what are some of the symptoms that, make you aware that, you need to start paying more attention to yourself and your body? What would you name? I know people talk about weight. I could talk about that, but slow metabolism. What do you say?
Okay. Well, you reminded me of something else about metabolism, but we'll get to that another time. But anywho, so it's important to have this conversation with everyone. And for the women who come after us, Nisha, who haven't even gotten here yet, we want to keep this conversation open. And the men and everyone, that lose the stigma around talking about these things. So huge mood swings was one that was really noticeable for me, like rage, really strong rage, like what the is slamming doors, kicking the dog food bowl. I talk about those in my book.
Yes, we'll get to that.
Crying, I talked about crying already today. You would probably think I just cry all the time, but huge crying jags, like for no reason, like in the Hallmark card store, just all of a sudden hear a song and like, what is wrong? Why can't I stop crying and making faces crying? Like, not just, dry skin, very, very dry skin at weird places, like where my elbow bends or my ankles, and the middle of the night waking me up because it was so itchy, scratchy. And these are just weird things. Those are some of the main ones, but the mood swings, the crying, the vaginal dryness. Can I say that?
Yes, you can say that. I mean, it's
okay.
just real talk.
Yes. Painful intercourse, loss of libido. Those are some of the main ones. I should just get out my
You
book.
talked a little bit about brain fog, and
brain fog. Yes.
That was one that I was thinking about. Like when you had something on your mind and it just left you like immediately. Like you said that you thought you were on the early onset of dementia.
I truly did. And don't take, that's not a joke. I really did think that I was experiencing, I have it in my family a little bit. And I thought, here we go in my early 40s. And I just want to say this too, because I've been working in fitness and health and all that for so many years. And I thought I've committed to a healthy lifestyle imperfectly for many, many years, like 30 years. I thought menopause would be no problem. So I knew there was this thing called menopause, but I thought,
talk to me in the bag.
Be silly. And it was very extreme. So I just want to say that I was very humbled by the whole experience, and I didn't understand. So for those who don't know, when we say menopause, that means you're menopause for one day, the day when you have gone 12 months without a period. So before that, that's perimenopause. And that's where we sometimes experience those changes because our estrogen level, the hormone estrogen, is fluctuating. Just think of puberty on the other end. Like, kind of a way to look at it.
Okay, so you guys, let's go ahead and dive right into the one of the reasons that she caught my attention. I was a little shy about it at first, but I'm not shy about it because I'm sure a lot of us have thought it. But she has a double whammy, you guys. She's an author twice on this side with Menopause, called Damn It Is Menopause, and then More Damn It Is Menopause. And I love, I have read some of the chapters. They're like little devotionals, and I really appreciate some of them because they identify with me. But what inspired you to write that? Like what is Meditations for Women to Achieve Clarity and Confidence Beyond Their Wildest Dreams? And when you're having a brain fog day, you can pick up this and it will really kind of help you out a little bit. So I want to say that I'm sure this is available on Amazon because I ordered it from Amazon. I ordered both of them. But tell us the inspiration behind actually going into business for yourself and then writing these books.
Okay. So and hot flashes was the other thing. And sweating in really weird places when your period's about to come. Like you ladies, when your period's coming because you have certain stuff, like that's just you. Well, it's times 5, like whatever that just you is, it's worse. And like I would sweat like at the top of my thighs, like weird places, not just your armpits, but there's that too. So anyways,
okay. Like an inferno, like like somebody just took a heater and turned it on inside of your body, and it just goes from head to toe. That was my experience. I don't have them anymore, but that was my experience, was from head to toe. I would feel like something, and then all the sheets had to come off of me. And then then I would go cold. I was gonna say freaking cold. I'll be like an icicle. So
yes. So finally, so why I wrote the books. Finally, I went through that, and I finally just thought, okay, with the brain fog and everything, I thought that it was dementia. So I went to my gynecologist because I really trusted her, and I felt like she got me, and I had a good communication with her. So I felt safe enough to say, like, I basically just shook her hand and burst into tears. So, and then she explained what was going on, and we had blood work done. And so we looked at the levels of my hormones and all that. And so from that, once I realized and I sorted it out, like, oh, this is perimenopause, I was like, I didn't know any of this. Nobody talks about this. I'm going to write a book. And I just started writing. And I'm a journaler, and I started writing. I had a separate journal for the book, and I kept saying, like, okay, this happened today, and how did I get through it? And then I talked to someone in the grocery store line, and she'd say, You know, she'd tell me something. People just tell me stuff. I love talking to people. And I'd think in my head, she's perimenopausal. I don't know whether I should tell her or not, because
Yeah.
I want to have her own journey, and it's not my business, but and then I'd go home and write it in the book, and I'd talk about it anonymously about friends. And so it's a compilation of my own stories plus stories about my friends and strangers who it would just come out. You can tell, you know, by what they say. So I didn't want women to go through that loneliness that I did and the depression. And I had a lot of sadness, really profound sadness about the fact that my childbearing years were going to be over, because I really had wanted to have 3 kids. And I got one, which is, he's amazing. But, you know, God had other plans for me. So, so that's why I wrote the book, because I'm like, I can't be the only woman. I couldn't find anyone who would talk about it. I'm like, we need to have this conversation. We need to keep it light, but informative and inspiring for women to know that there. And so book 1 is just the regular Damn It. That's kind of like coming to terms with the whole thing. And then the More Damn It, the other book, is kind of for women on the other side. Like, I'm 10 years post-menopause now, and you're menopausal for the rest of your life after that.
Oh, you are. That's what I was going to ask you, because not to put anybody on blast, but I'm a hairstylist. Everybody knows that. So I'm sitting in the chair. I mean, my clients are sitting in the chair, Sally, and I am styling them, and we're almost finished. And all of a sudden I could feel the heat coming off of their head.
Really?
Some of them are 70 plus years. And I'm like, it's got to be over by now. I know you're not breaking into a sweat. You know, I'm thinking that it should be over at a certain age, right? At some point, right? It should end.
Not necessarily. Everybody's different. And then there's menopause hormone therapy, MHT, which used to be called HRT. So those 2 things mean the same thing. I've got a little yard, which somebody's doing something out there.
That's
anyway,
okay, that's normal. That's fine.
So anyway,
this is real life. This is real life. What happens in real life?
It is, babe. So I want people to just know those 2 terms are interchangeable: menopause hormone therapy, MHT, or HRT, hormone replacement therapy. They mean the same thing. MRT is the more current thing that it's called. And if you're comfortable with a healthcare provider, you can ask them about this if it becomes if your symptoms or your changes become a quality of life issue. It's a controversial issue. I can give you books, you can read about that. I'm not a doctor, but there's my dog.
Okay, so since you brought this up, I'm just gonna dive right into it.
Do it.
I think I shared it with you, and so I am currently a new candidate to HRT or MRT, and I have been considering leaving the therapy only because of let's talk about anxiety. So I have never experienced anxiety, I'm gonna say, until I started getting MRT. So that was very interesting for me. I am going to have my OBGYN who offers the services to come on. I'm going to interview her. Dr. Marsha Gorens. I am going to interview her soon. That'll be coming up. But you just brought that up. So of course you said it's controversial because my primary does not agree with it. And then my main OBG is not real excited about it, but I did find some very great qualities in having it. So when you spoke to it and said it's controversial, can you tell us a little bit of why you think it is, in terms of, and do you believe in it, is what I'm feeling, right?
Yes, I actually, as I said, I'm 61. So I was on it from the age of 50 to 60. And at the time, it's okay. Here's the main thing. There was a large study done years ago, which reported inaccurately information that hormone replacement was a breast cancer risk. And so I'm not an expert on this. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a PhD. So I encourage you to look it up. Dr. Jen Gunter is a good resource for that. The Menopause Manifesto, she talks about it in detail, as well as the XX Brain, which is by Lisa Mosconi, who is a neuroscientist and studies Alzheimer's and all kinds of really fascinating things. But anyway, they have since determined that those results were not accurate. And so it's still an individual. The reason it's controversial is because you need to talk about this with your healthcare provider and find out what is your family history of cancer and various things like that. And there are also different kinds of hormone replacement as well. So there's bioidentical, and there are patches, there's cream, but the other reason it was controversial was because, like in my mother's day, say, who is, she would have been like in her late 80s or 90s by now, but she's not alive anymore. But in her day, what was used, like, so I'm talking about the 70s, that was pregnant horse urine. That was Premarin. That's what that is. And so
I remember that word. I remember that. Yes. I'm not that, but I do remember. Yes. Okay. That word.
So it's not bad anymore.
Right.
Okay. So.
Okay. Thank God.
I know. But like you said, Nisha, like my doctor tried different things with me until she came up with the one that, I didn't have anxiety, I didn't have hot flashes, and we tried antidepressants. A lot of times the first thing they're going to say to you when you go in is, oh, let's try an antidepressant. And that was not the solution for me. So, and the main other key point I would love to tell your listeners is that many doctors, this is hopefully changing, but many doctors have very little training in med school when it comes to menopause. And I've, of course, gone around and asked my ear, nose, and throat doctor, like, how much training did you have on menopause in med school? He's like, oh God, hardly anything. And I said, well, let me just tell you, I'm off HRT now, or menopause replacement hormone therapy. And I want you to notice if it changes anything with me with regard to my ear, nose, and throat and anything else. Like, so ask your healthcare providers, like, hey, how much training do you have on menopause? Even if it's not even a related, if it's like your ear, nose, and throat or whatever it is, your sinus guy or your allergy person or whatever doctor you may be at, ask people, say the word.
Okay. So there's a question. My OB-GYN does it, but is oral just as effective, do you think? And I know you're not a healthcare professional, but that's just a question. The MRT, do you think? And I don't know that this is me personally. I had to get injections of the pellets of testosterone. I'm being so transparent right now.
No, that's great.
And then I take the progesterone at night. And every night. And I'm kind of like ready to wean myself off of it a little bit, just because I'm wondering I just want to see if it's related to the random anxiety that shows up. And I do mean random. Like I'm driving in the car and all of a sudden I need all the air to blow in my face and just kind of like calm me down. It is weird for me. But I do know that they say it goes along with menopause. That was one of the things that I heard and I read up on and did some studying on. And so I don't have the cycles anymore. I don't have the hot flashes, but this is a new wind that I've not experienced. And I was wondering, was it COVID and, all the things that have come along, financial differences and all those things with business. But I just was curious. So what do you think about oral, just taking the oral being just as effective?
There in the beginning days for me. So, mind you, like things have advanced since 10 years ago when I was beginning it, or 15 years ago, if you count like all the, when I was in my 40s, but, I did have sometimes a combination of two things, like an oral and a cream. So I wanted people like listen to your body. Don't let the doctor put words in your mouth about like, well, this is probably depression. Let's just take an antidepressant, or, believe yourself when, and know that there are different combinations of like a cream and an oral and a patch, and there are pellets, and there are, probably other things that I don't even know about now because I've decided to go off now. So,
what's interesting, I did want to share this real quick and just to your point of asking your doctor. So I've had a history. I am being so transparent right now to the world. I've had a history of UTIs throughout the years, and they come from different things. But I went to a urologist, and I've been seeing him for years, and just giving me the antibiotics, whatever. There was a nurse practitioner there, and my regular couldn't see me, and so she saw me. She told me, you don't have, because my tests were negative. She was like, you don't have that. You have menopause. And she
Mm.
gave me, the cream to kind of help me. And oh my gosh, it was like a life-changing moment. And it speaks to what you talked about, the different dryness. I won't speak to all the words, but just the different things that you go through, and you don't really realize that this is a part of that. And I think that that's the point of asking and talking. Somebody that'll take the time to actually talk to you about
Mhm.
it. And that's why I was convinced with the MRT, was because it was a thorough conversation. And it's not just for MRT, HRT is for men too. So I just want to say that. I'm throwing it out there quietly. Okay. So anyway, so I know we talked about a lot, and we're gonna have to do this again, but I wanna speak to, after I met with Sally, she mailed me some information and some tools. And she said, you are being prepared to receive all the love and joy your heart can hold. Love, Sally. So she gave me a journal and a nice little, it's only a thought, and a thought can be changed about my stress life. Okay. And so this was my inspiration, but then she also gave me these balls. So I want to talk about this a little bit, and then we will answer your questions, you guys, about the weight in menopause, and also something else somebody said. So we'll ask in a minute, but put all your questions in. This is a great time because, and you know what? You also need to go to sallybartlett.com. There's some freebies there that you all can kind of gain some information, and invest in yourself, and hire her as a coach, because it will walk you through a journey that will change your life. Okay. So don't just sit back and be like, oh, I saw her on there. No, go to her website, do the investigation, do the homework yourself. Okay, let's talk about the balls.
All right.
Because I didn't know. I know I feel like they're a stress ball, but it didn't really squeeze really much. So tell me about it.
Okay. Well, mostly I'll talk about this blue ball that you've
Okay.
got there. The other balls are that's a bonus. But anyway, this technique. Before I start about this technique, I just wanted to reiterate that it's a collective effort to manage your menopause and your mental health, and it's going to be, you're going to be addressing different things: your physical, your intellectual, brain fog, your emotional, or your emotional literacy, and your spiritual, which is different for all of us, but we all have our own unique way of looking at love.
Right.
And so, and I want to honor that for everyone. But so the melt method, this ball is from a technique called the melt method, which is myofascial release, self myofascial release. So I don't want to get, that's a whole other topic.
Let me say it. Self myofascial release. Okay.
Yes. So do you know when you have a raw chicken and you take the chicken skin off, and then that thin layer?
Yeah.
That's fascia.
Okay.
So in our bodies, we have a 3D matrix from head to toe that is composed of fascia, which is a connective tissue that surrounds our joints, supports us, helps us to stabilize. It's around our organs. It's everywhere in our whole body. So think of, for those of you young enough or old enough to remember pantyhose. I don't know.
Some of us do too, okay.
When you don't get the pantyhose on straight and they're like twisted on your leg, and that just feels weird, and you just want to pull up your dress and fix it in the bathroom, and you can't. But anyway, so that's your fascia. Think of that little thin layer. And if your fascia is dehydrated or dried out, it's going to feel like those pantyhose. It can cause pain in your body. So for example, you could have connective tissue or, fascia in your leg that is dehydrated, and then you can rehydrate with this ball in another body part. But because it's a whole body stocking, you're going to impact other areas of your body indirectly just by using there are hand techniques,
Wow.
there are foot techniques. There's a one for your skull that helps with neck, and maybe if you have eye tension or sinus issues, using the melt method. It's a self technique you can do to help with chronic pain and also improve performance. So this is something to put in yourself or your wellness toolbox, along with journaling, which we already mentioned. So those are some of the things, some of my go-tos.
What would I do with it? Just like roll it, or?
All right. Do you want to do a little thing?
Yes, let's do a little thing.
All right, we're going to do a little quick thing, like 5 minutes. Is that
Okay.
too much? All right.
Okay.
So first you would grab the ball and just kind of grip it in one hand a few times and then grip it in the other hand. And just notice not only how strong is your grip, notice if it's even on your left and right hand, maybe one side feels stronger. You're also going to notice while you're squeezing how's your neck tension? Do you have any neck tension, shoulder tension, anything going on there that you'd notice? And that's just our pre-assessment. So yeah, I know you're got like all over the place with the ball, Nisha. You're just gonna...
my right hand hurts and it's usually swollen. I'll show you. It's much more swollen in this area right here than my working hand. So this is what usually is the problem. And even as I'm squeezing it, it feels so good because it's like squeezing down on the pain. So it's pain.
Okay. Sometimes with the melt method, you would address directly like that, but other times you might melt, we call it melting, somewhere else on the body. So let's try that and see if we can bring about an indirect effect on how you're feeling in those parts of your hand. So let's do a little thing for your scalp. So I'm just pulling my hair aside so you can kind of see, you know, that bone back there behind your ear?
Yes.
And your listeners can do this with a light touch of the finger if they don't have a melt ball, but you're going to touch that ball to that bone there, Nisha, and put the heel of your hand over the ball. I hope you can see what I'm doing here.
I can see good.
Okay. Then you're going to just rest your fingers on your head and kind of just tilt your head into the ball. So which side is your ball on?
The left.
So you're going to turn your head to the left. I'll do it the same side as you. So you're going to go like this. And then you're just going to start to make little circles. Let me turn so you can see what I'm doing here. Can you see? And you're going to make little circles like this. Okay. Right over that spot. And it's light. It's not hard. It's not jamming it in there. Then you're going to stop and just wait as you hold the ball gently on that spot, tolerable, pain-free pressure, and take a breath in. And then blow out. Just giving the tissue a chance to adapt. You okay there? Mm-hmm. Okay, now we're moving on to another spot. I'm going to take off my glasses. You're going to go on your jaw right here. Same thing. Heel of the hand over the ball, fingers rest, and then tilt your head. And then you can even put if it works for you, you can put your elbow on your tabletop, Nisha. I can't see your table, but if there's a table, and you're just going to do little circles there. And you go, well, where do I put it? Try a couple spots, and then one spot you're going to go, oh yeah, right there. You found it yet? Mm-hmm. Okay. And you're just going to do a couple circles. It doesn't have to be a half an hour, just maybe 30 seconds, and then stop and wait and take a deep breath here. And then we're going to move on to another spot. This is up on your temple here. Okay. Same thing with the position of the hand, and tilt your head. And then, I don't know, you might have had a favorite. This is my favorite, is this one. How do you feel?
I think the back of my neck has been my favorite so far.
Base of the skull. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one's good if you've been at the computer and you have some eye strain, and still it's a real light touch here. So anyone doing it at home, you can just do like this, but the ball is really great when you have the ball. And then stop again and take a deep breath, giving the tissue a chance to adapt. You can even close your eyes if you want. Then we're going to just go back down the way we came. So go back to the jaw, circles, and literally you can do it this quickly. It doesn't have to be a long situation. Stop, take a breath, just really relaxing your head. And then back down to the base of the skull there, just behind the ear, tilting the head, relaxing.
It really kind of is. I can feel the difference. I can actually feel the difference in my hand, believe it or not. That's kind of a wow.
Yeah, it's very gentle.
That's kind of weird.
Okay, now let's take the ball out and we'll go to the other side and we'll do the same thing.
Woo! I hope you all are doing this, okay? Like, we're getting lessons here, and this free 99 today, but go to our website and subscribe, okay?
So here we go. I do offer an online course, and it includes the things that I sent you, the balls, the journal, and it does go through a tutorial of this on the online course. So you're circling here, same thing, and then stop, take a breath. Just trying to soften anything that you feel that you're tensing, even if you're like gripping your butt muscles right now, for example. You might be, I do that all the time. Just kind of let that go. Moving on to the jaw.
Feet. I have a tendency to squeeze my feet. So that's
Same thing.
I just do it all the time.
Yeah. And there's a foot technique, which is really a favorite of mine too. But that didn't make for as good of Nisha network for today. So
thank God, because I need a pedicure.
I didn't warn you up front to get your nails done. Stop here, take a breath. Remembering to relax that neck. And you may feel, if you have sinus issues at all, you may feel a little bit of draining happening when you're on the second side here, but I don't have any sinus things going on right now, but.
We do in Chicago, okay?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Major, so yes. So you guys, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We will answer them. How are you feeling? Let us know if you're actually practicing this. We have a few people watching, and so please share, you guys. If you just tuned in, we're with Sally Bartlett with sallybartlett.com. She is a wellness coach, an author, a speaker, and she is a phenomenal woman who is like helping my life right now. We're gonna have to hang up because I feel like I could take a nap.
Oh my gosh. Now let's go back down to your jaw, Nisha.
Okay, back to my jaw.
Relax your head. Just noticing what's going on in your face, your facial muscles, maybe letting them go if they're tense at all. And I know she's here, everyone, here she is conducting this interview while she's supposed to be having this mindful experience.
I'm having a mindful experience.
And then we're going to go down to back down to your base of your skull, your favorite, right? Is it your favorite on this side too?
Favorite so far.
Okay, good. And then let's just stop there and take a breath again, one more time. Softening. And then let's reassess. Let's do that grip assess again and notice any changes. It's important to do the pre and post assessment when you melt every session, because you're going to realize like, oh my gosh, I have, within me the ability to bring about changes.
That's for real. The truth, Sally. No exaggerations. You all, I'm not kidding. Like my thumb area feels better. That is amazing.
Awesome.
That is amazing. That's kind of blowing me away a little bit. I do know that things like reflexology and I see a wholeness doctor, chiropractic, and he's been amazing. And it never feels like he's doing anything. But the fascia, no, I'm serious. Like you're making sense that maybe that's what because he works with Chinese medicine and he's a Christian, but he works with Chinese medicine and it really does. I tell people, don't be afraid like you don't know what's going on. Like he feels like he's barely touching you. But now that you talked about the fascia, that makes so much sense to me. I really appreciate you saying that. Wow. You guys, well, look, we haven't talked about a whole lot. I kind of gleaned from this opportunity. Look at my hair. I gleaned from this opportunity today. I definitely know that you're passionate about this field, Sally, and I'm so grateful that that you have joined us today. You guys go to sallybartlett.com. I don't have my help today, but you all go to sallybartlett.com and definitely log into her website and sign up for some of the freebies that she's offering, but also invest in yourself. Sally's in Southern California, but virtual is the way to go today. I'm looking forward to meeting her in person, but she's been such a blessing in my life, and you guys need to hook up with her, and maybe we'll consider doing a women's workshop, Sally, or something like that with Nisha's Network, so that we can definitely connect. She's the author of Damn It, It's Menopause. I'm shy about saying the word. I don't say that often, but I love the book. Is amazing, you guys, both of them. So you all order them on Amazon. You will not be disappointed. It's just refreshing to know that you're not alone and you're not by yourself. Sally, before we go, I want you to tell everybody what is some of the rewards that you have gained since doing what you love and your passion. Tell us some of the rewarding things.
The look in women's eyes when they realize they have more control over their well-being and their happiness than they realize. And so there's that. And then when they also realize like it's going to be, and I want your listeners to know that your perimenopausal journey is yours alone, and it can have many different solutions from different places. So just be confident that your life is not over and you're not obsolete. And me being able to give that message to other women, there's nothing like it. I mean, it's so scary to have your own business. I don't know about you, Nisha, but fear comes up every day for me, and I have to remember my source and my solution. But knowing that I'm going to help people is what keeps me going.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I was thinking about while you were talking, and I know this is a backwards question, but I just need to ask you, what are some of the ways women can communicate that maybe to others and their loved ones, husbands, children, when those moments of emotional roller coasters arise, for them to say, hey, give me a break, because you don't always want to blame it on menopause, and people probably think that's an excuse, but it's real. So what ways do you recommend that people communicate? Because sometimes your patience is good and sometimes it's off the charts. What ways do you recommend that people communicate that without being offensive to their loved ones?
well, I think you could come up with kind of like a buzzword or something. I know for
That's a buzzword. Okay, girl, come on, tell it.
well, it depends, just make up your own, whatever it is. But like for my son, I mean, I'll just say, hey, oh, hot flash. And so we've kind of like we have the conversation. So I don't know. And, sometimes you don't even know when you're having like an emotional outburst. It's just coming out of you and you didn't even realize it until afterwards. And so sometimes he might realize before I do. But I think that if I tell him, that physical symptom, oh, I'm having a hot flash, he kind of is tuned in like, oh, maybe I need to tread lightly here.
So get a buzzword, you guys. Get a buzzword. The other thing I wanted to say was, and I know I'm so behind time, but I still have to ask this. People are concerned about weight. Like when I went and had my blood work done, they were like, your metabolism is really shot. You need to do some things to speed it up. And you were going to talk about that. And I know that's a whole nother conversation, but just to answer some of the viewers that's saying, hey, what do I do about this weight that just came and just like does not want to leave like it used to?
Well, my solution is
guys don't eat bread for the rest of your life.
No, I know. And that's not going to be my solution because, I've maintained about 35-pound weight loss for over 30 years, right? Through menopause, childbirth, divorce, everything. So emotional things happen. And the first step for me was loving my body the size it was, the biggest size it had ever been in my life, and loving it like crazy. And that was the first step. And that's part of what I work on in my online course. Is I'm not trying to like shameless plug, but that's what
let's go with this is what this is about. Sally has an online course. Tell us about it. It's really key for people to sign up and invest in themselves. It makes a difference. So please share.
Well, it's not about a diet at all. Like I lost the weight not dieting. I had so many years of dietings from age 10 that I had a lot of work to do to untangle that and realize like that's not ever going to lead to a long-term solution for me, because to me, a diet that's successful would mean I kept the weight off. I took the weight off and I kept it off for over 3 years. That's just my own personal thing. I've kept my weight off for over 30 years. And so but that wasn't a diet. Like, a diet just by definition is not, it's just going to make me crazy. Okay. So my course, I work on coming in from a totally different perspective of learning to journal and love your body the way it is. And from there, learning emotional literacy and other self-care tips, like things like that, the MELT method, to address feelings in a different way, because my answer to every feeling was the refrigerator. And so once I separated those two things, like God's not in the refrigerator, and someone is going to be my mom, and self-acceptance is not in the refrigerator or the pantry. And I kept trying to make it be there, like opening the fridge. Are you in there, God? And no.
That's so good. That's a good analogy, girl. God is not in the refrigerator. Okay.
And if I'm crunching, I can't hear God. So, but I don't, I don't diet. I don't do extreme diets. I don't restrict certain foods. I eat everything, but I feel my feelings and I learn to communicate better. I've learned a lot of boundaries, things like that, in order not to need that excess food, but to go to a different source where it's going to be a better lasting solution. I don't know
Wow,
if that makes
that is
sense.
so good. Oh my gosh. You guys, I could talk to Sally forever, but I need to schedule my own appointment, and you do too. So go to sallybartlett.com today, you guys, and check out Sally. She's an amazing person, and I feel like I need to exhale more. So be on the lookout for more from Sally. Sally, any last words you want to leave everyone with? Please order her book on Amazon, Damn It, It's Menopause, or Damn It, It's Menopause. Order Amazon.com. Go today and order your book and really just kind of like take in all the devotionals and all of the I think it's God inspired
Definitely.
words that really came from Sally, from her heart. And she was uh, so kind of to share it with the world. And to me, it's a prescription for us to go on a journey of healthiness and healing. Okay. So join me in that journey. I'm going there. Okay. Sally, any last words, girl?
Just believe in yourself. No matter, there's going to be some highs and lows, menopause or not, just believe in yourself that you're going to find solutions and you have some amazing things yet to do in your life.
Yes, yes. Well, we have amazing things yet to do in our life, you guys, and we're not going to let menopause stop us. Thank you so much for today, Sally. I'm going to ask you to hang on a minute. You guys will be back next week. Me and Wes are going to be interviewed next week. We have others, but we're going to talk about marriage next week, you guys. Our daughter's going to interview us. So you all stay tuned for next Wednesday or Thursday evening. I think it's our anniversary. We're going to be interviewed. So 33 years next week. So anyway, I'm so excited about today. You guys hang tight, Sally. Thank you guys. We'll see you next
Thank
week.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, 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 yeah.